Make her stay. We're going to throw the first bumper right into the decoys. Misty. Good girl. Good girl. Give. Sit. Now the next time we're going to throw the bumper all the way through the decoys. Misty. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Good girl. As the dog gets good with the single marked retriever on land, take her to water. See how well she does there. Sit. Stay. Misty. Gradually increase the distances. Create some hazards. Make her swim through the decoys. As she gets better, make her swim all the way across and go up into the cover on the far bank to make the retrieve. At some point, we're going to need to introduce either canoes or boats to our pup. Take them down to the water's edge and try to get them into the boat by encouraging with a bumper or just using obedience. When they get in and get settled down, throw a few retrieves for them. Hey, hop, 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 hop. Misty, good girl. If you've got a little boy dog, be especially careful of his hook when he goes over the edge. Good girl, here. Good girl, here. When they come back to the boat's edge, get the bumper out before you try to get them to enter the boat. Help them up if you need to, and they'll pull themselves in. If not, give a little heave-ho and pull them over the back. Good girl. Okay, good girl.
Your dog is about 20 weeks old. So far, we focused mostly on waterfowl skills. Upland hunters, you haven't wasted any time. All these skills apply to both water and upland retrieving. Now we'll get into some specific upland skills. But don't start a dog on upland work until he's firm on his duck hunting commands.
You want to find you a field that has a road through it. Get you a duck or a pheasant, pull some flight feathers out, they'll grow back. Tell your dog to sit and stay, walk out a little ways. You'll give the bird time enough to run off. As soon as duck's focused on it, find it with his nose. Good boy, duck, find it. Okay. Hold it, good boy, hold it. We're going to start teaching the dogs how to quarter a field. That is, to go out into the field, find scent, and follow that scent. We don't want to start teaching this until the retrieving skills are going very well. We're going to use a different set of commands here too. We're going to command the dog to hunt them up instead of sending them out on their name. One of the best ways we've found to start this is just by taking the dog for a walk. Come on, Maggie, hunt him up. Hunt him up. And you'll see she's lagging behind me a little bit. Anytime the dog lags behind, we want to turn and face him and tell him, hunt him up. Good girl. Okay, come around, come around. Hunt him up, hunt him up. Good girl. Hunt him up, hunt him up, hunt him up. To gradually start to teach the dogs the distance they can go from us in the field. And we're going to use all of our obedience commands to do that. Good girl, Maggie. Hunt him up, hunt him up, hunt him up. What we're trying to create here is a zigzag pattern through the field. Now, this is kind of artificial in the setting we're in. But once the dog learns the pattern and you take them out into a big, heavy cover field where there's pheasants, they'll already know the pattern and know how to cover the field properly. Next, we're going to teach the dog to obey the whistle at any distance. Now, this drill is the lead-in for future training. We're going to sit the dog out in front of us, tell them to stay. We have a helper out in the field with a pistol and a pigeon. He's going to throw the bird on signal and fire. When we're sure the dog's been steady, we'll command duck. Call it back to us. He must obey the come command, hold, sit. At this point, we're going to quarter the dog into the trap. Hunt him up, hunt him up. All of this leads up to what we're working towards, and that is the dog being steady on the flush or when the bird flies off. If the dog would chase the bird during the flight, it'd be very unsafe. Good boy. Here, heel, heel. Now we're going to teach the in here command. Go out into a field, find you a brushy area that would be likely to hold some type of bird. Command the dog, in here, in here. If he hesitates, walk into the cover with him. Come on, duck, in here, in here. Encourage the dog to hunt this cover by standing in the cover with him. Good duck, good duck. Here, in here. Hunt him up, duck, hunt him up, hunt him up, hunt him up. Let's go, hunt him up, hunt him up. Hunt him up, hunt him up, hunt him up. In here. Good dog, okay. Okay, okay. Hunt him up, hunt him up, hunt him up. Duck.
Now we're coming to the last phase of training, teaching your dog to handle. The discipline of guiding your dog as directly as possible to the fall is what handling's all about. It is the ultimate objective for hunting retrievers. Conservation is one of the most important contributions of a well-trained dog. When a bird falls, even when the dog didn't see where it landed, you can command the dog to find it. We call that a blind retrieve. With hand and whistle signals, you direct the dog close enough to where his nose can go to work. Handling a dog, telling it where to go, means fewer birds are lost. Why waste game? Charlie is handling a grandmaster hunting retriever with a lot of experience.
Now we're going to teach you how to do it. Handling begins with an exercise Richard termed baseball. This begins somewhere in the 12 to 20 week age range. Your dog should be very proficient at sit, stay, and come at this point. They should have already retrieved hundreds, if not thousands, of bumpers by now. Should have been working with pigeons and ducks by now, probably. They should be able to swim. There's not a particular day that you should begin on this, but you're going to have to determine when your dog is ready. You need an area that's going to be open to start this with no distractions. Something like your mowed front yard or a clean field to work in. We will start off by creating an imaginary baseball diamond on this area. You take the dog at heel, walk her out to the pitcher's mound. You stop the dog and sit her with her sit whistle. Walk back to home plate. Throw your bumper to first base. When you're sure she's going to stay, to catch the dog to first base, put your right arm out and step to your right with a rousing over. Girl, Megan. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Walk her back to the pitcher's mound. Sit her with a sit whistle. Walk back to home plate. Throw the bumper to third base. You go to third base, put your left arm out, and step with the rousing over. Step and release her again. Megan, here. Good girl, come. Heel. She sits, delivers. Walk her back to the pitcher's mound. Heel. Megan, here. Heel. Go back to home plate. And on this exercise, we're going to go to second base. If she should happen to break, use your whistle to stop her. You cast her back with the right hand over your head and a rousing back. Girl, Megan. Good. And sit. Now, just because your dog does this the first time you show it to them doesn't mean they know how to do it. You need to condition this drill over and over to where it becomes a conditioned habit. Gradually make it more and more difficult. You need to be real consistent with your right, left, and back casting here. You're trying to teach the dog the skills it's going to need to run a blind later on. Now we're going to test how well your dog understands sit, stay, and come with the whistle commands. This drill is called stop control. We throw the bumper to second base. Going to send her with Megan. Stop her, cast her back. Stop her again, cast her back. Stop her again, cast her back. When you can stop your dog right on top of this bumper, you know very well that she understands sit and stay. Back. Good girl, Maggie. Good girl. Okay, sit, sit. Now you're ready for the water. After the dogs are doing their lessons well on land, we're going to stop by the pond, see how they're doing in the water. I'm going to try a little stop control drill here on water just to see how well she'll do it. Sit. Sit. We know she'll stay. We're going to cast her with back. We'll stop her with a whistle, make her answer the whistle, and cast her back. Stop her again. When she turns back to look at us, we'll cast her back. She turns back to us. Back. Make her look at us and cast her back. Now we know that she'll listen to us on water just as well as she did on land. Good girl. Good girl. So what do you do when you hit a second bird down? Go back to your baseball pattern. Put Megan at pitcher's mound, heel. Tell her to sit. You walk to home plate. Throw one to first. You throw one to third. At first, we're going to cater to her instincts, which is to go to the last bird down. We're going to step and cast her over. Girl, Maggie, here. She comes back to home plate. We're going to send her back to first base. Megan. Good girl. Okay, here. Heel. Yeah, good girl. Heel. We'll walk her back to the pitcher's mound. Heel. Megan, heel. Heel. Go back to home plate. And this time we're going to make it a little more difficult. We're going to throw one to first base. We're going to throw one to third base, but instead of let her pick up the last one down, we're going to make her pick up the first one. Over. Good girl, Megan. Here. Sit. Give. Megan. Good girl, Megan. Here. And sit. Good girl. Give. Walk her back to the pitcher's mound. Heel. Megan, heel. Go back to home plate. And now we're going to mix it up. We're going to throw one to third base. We're going to throw one to second base. Make her pick up the one at second base. Back. Good girl, Maggie. Good girl. Yeah, and sit. On another day, we're going to put bumpers out at all three bases and mix up the casting order. Megan, heel. Heel. Back. Good girl. We always want to make the game of baseball fun. Good girl. Megan. Good girl. Okay. Heel. Heel. Okay, Maggie. Good girl. Next, we're going to teach lining. You can begin this just as soon as you finish baseball. Now, Richard termed this lining to Philadelphia, because if your dog believed you, he'd line all the way to Philadelphia. We're going to mow a 200-yard long path in a field. Megan, heel. Then we're going to leave the starting point, which was home plate. We're going to walk out to second base now, and second base is going to be about 200 yards ahead of us. And when we get to second base, we're going to lay a bumper down. And now we're going to walk all the way back to home plate, laying a bumper down about every 10 yards on the return trip. Heel. Girl, Megan, heel. This is a drill that will teach the dog how to go pick up things they did not see fall. We're going to take the dog all the way back to home plate and start the drill from there.